You know, every once in a while, a new piece of military hardware shows up that's not just an upgrade, it's a genuine shift in global power. And in late 2025, that's exactly what we saw from China's Navy.
So China's Navy dropped this official video, and in it was their newest, most advanced aircraft carrier, the Fujian. And we saw it conducting flight operations with actual fixed-wing jets for the very first time. This wasn't just another sea trial. This was a statement. But here's what made everyone's jaw drop. The video didn't just show one new plane. It was the simultaneous debut of three completely different advanced aircraft all operating from the carrier at the same time. One analyst called it a stunning revelation because China's carrier program didn't just take a step forward, it took a giant leap, all at once.
So this brings up two really big questions, right? What exactly did we see in that video? And more importantly, why is this such a game changer for naval power, not just in the Pacific, but, well, everywhere?
Okay, let's start with the planes themselves because, look, a carrier is only as good as the aircraft it can launch. And the Fujian just revealed a brand new trio that makes up one seriously potent and modern air wing.
First up, you've got the J-35. This is the star of the show, their frontline stealth fighter. It's a twin-engine jet that just looks like it was built from the ground up to go toe-to-toe with the best naval fighters out there. And unlike older Chinese jets, this one was designed from day one to be shot off a catapult. That's key.
Then there's the J-15T. Think of this as the tough, upgraded veteran of the fleet. It's a new version of China's older carrier fighter, but it's been heavily modified for catapults. Why does that matter? It means it can take off with way more fuel and a much heavier load of bombs and missiles than was ever possible on China's older ski-jump carriers.
But honestly, the real game changer here might be this one, the KJ-600. This is their eyes in the sky, a fixed-wing airborne early warning plane. It flies way higher and stays up way longer than a helicopter ever could, seeing threats and directing its own fighters from hundreds of miles out. This is the quarterback of the fleet. It's what turns a carrier group into a genuine long-range power projector.
So you've got the stealth fighter, the heavy-hitting workhorse, and the airborne command post. But what's the one piece of tech that lets all of them work at their full potential? Well, it all comes down to how they get off the deck. See, it's all about the launch. China's older carriers use a ski jump ramp. It's simple, but it means the planes have to use their own engine power to get airborne, which really limits how much weight they can carry. The Fujian, on the other hand, uses a catapult. It doesn't just help the plane, it physically throws the aircraft off the deck. That's how you get a big, heavy plane like the KJ-600 into the sky with a full tank of gas.
But the Fujian doesn't have just any old catapult. It has an electromagnetic aircraft launch system, or EMALS. Instead of using clunky, high-maintenance steam pistons like older carriers, EMLS uses incredibly powerful and precise electromagnets. It's basically a giant, high-tech slingshot. It's smoother for the planes, it can be dialed in for different aircraft weights, and it's a huge technological jump. This is the top-of-the-line stuff.
And developing this kind of tech is one thing, but actually deploying it on a ship, wow, that puts China in a very, very small club and shows you just how bold their naval strategy has become.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The U.S. Navy used steam catapults for more than 50 years before moving to EMALS on its newest carriers. And let me tell you, it was a rocky transition with lots of technical problems. China, though, they just decided to skip the whole steam generation completely. For their very first catapult carrier, they went straight for the most advanced and arguably the most difficult system out there. That's a huge gamble.
And that bold move led to a pretty wild historical first. Even though the U.S. Navy pioneered the EMALS technology, that video from the Fujian confirmed that China's J-35 stealth fighter became the very first one in the world to actually launch from a carrier using an electromagnetic catapult. They beat the American F-35C to that specific milestone.
Okay, so we've got the planes, we've got the cutting-edge tech, but let's zoom out. What does a carrier like the Fujian actually mean for the rest of the world? What are the real stakes here?
In strategic terms, this is a very big deal. The Fujian is a tool that allows China to project serious military power far from its own shores. With the KJ-600 acting as its eyes and the J-35 as its stealthy fist, this carrier group can operate effectively in the blue waters of the open Pacific. And that, of course, really complicates things for the US and its allies. And it totally changes the military balance in hotspots like the South China Sea. When you boil it all down, the real takeaway is this. The Fujian signals that China's carrier program is growing up. For years, you could kind of see it as an experiment, a training exercise. But this ship,
With this air wing and this launch technology, this is the moment that program becomes a true operational reality. And that leaves us with one final massive question. The hardware is real, the capabilities proven, the tool has been built. The question now is no longer if this will change the strategic map, but how.
Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the biggest shifts in aerospace, geopolitics, and defense innovation.